Back at the TVC studios, Zach Ewing, Trevor Horn with you on the Super Show. Next, bring in one of the best football players Kern County's ever seen, for one thing, and now a coach in town, Jason Oliver at Foothill. And I had to throw in the blast from the past there, Jay.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a while since you were a player, but I'm sure those days still ring true at this time of year when football season starts too.
Oh yeah, it's always refreshing. You know, when you have football in your blood, and when you see it, you smell the grass, you see the games, you all get excited.
Yeah. Well, this year, Foothill, it's your fourth year. Fourth
Yes.
year at Foothill. See, I got you. Now we're 1-1 now.
Yeah. See,
I was wrong on
Well, see,
Cold
my
Iron.
whole
Yeah.
thought process was like we had Cold Iron in here. It's his third year. We had Fanuki in here. It's his third year. And for some reason, I was thinking it was your third year too. For some reason, but
The
I was
SEYL is a
wrong.
fun league because a lot of those coaches have been at the schools the same. They came in at the same time.
Yeah, Kerry
And so,
came in.
Yeah, you sort of have those
Obviously,
rivalries growing.
Norm's the new guy there, but yeah, Mike came in at the same time as you guys did too. So it's cool.
Jason, this year, because it's that fourth year, the kids who are freshmen, you came in, are seniors now.
Right.
And that is kind of that special feeling for a coach where you feel like your mark is on the program from top to bottom, right?
Absolutely. You know, those kids have been with you the entire time, so they understand the system. They understand what the expectations are, and I think they've done a great job of helping the younger guys. So that was when the program changed.
Yeah, and that's obviously a good thing. And the program has struggled for years now. Really, not since you've been there, but for before that. Do you feel like, you know, and I know you feel like you're pushing a boulder up a hill sometimes, and it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But are you getting close to that where the ball can start rolling downhill?
You know, we felt like that. We thought about that last year, and I thought there was times where we were scratching the surface. We showed signs, just too inconsistent.
You had some injuries too, I know, last year.
Absolutely. But this year, you know, those guys are seniors. We had a great offseason, and I think they're fired up. So we have some really high expectations for this year.
How are your numbers right now? 30, 35?
35.
Yeah. About average for, you know, obviously for schools on that side of town. But for you as a coach, like we talked with David Cold Iron, he talked about, you know, the weight room. And for you, you know, obviously, you know, a lot of your success as a player predicated on your time in the off season. Now that you've been a part of this program for 4 years, is there kind of a culture that you have of, you know, consistency throughout the year for these guys that's going to hopefully pay off for you finally?
Oh, absolutely. You know, when the season is over, we have that 2-week dead period, and then we're back in the weight room.
Yep.
So, you know, we got those guys lifting and focusing, and the weight room is important, but also the team building and then working out together. You know, working out there together.
A lot of new quarterbacks in town. I think that, you know, I think everybody's kind of looking for that next big star. How do you feel about Hugo Santana?
I think Hugo is special. So far as the physical part of the game, he can make every throw. He has great size, great strength in his arm. He can spin the ball really well. You know, the game needs to slow down a little bit, you know, mentally. You know, once the game slows down for him a little bit, you know, we see that in quarterbacks. They get a little bit more comfortable back there. So once he understands a little bit better how to run our offense, I think he'll excel.
I'm looking at your offensive line, and this helps him slow down the game probably. But you've got Joseph Barraza back, Anthony Alberon back for a third year at starter, and then I'm going to mispronounce his name, but James Off or
Eoff.
Eoff. Okay, just like it sounds, or sounds just like it looks. Anyway, having those guys back on the line, that can really help the skill guys do what they need to do.
Right. You know, without an offensive line, it's going to be tough to do anything.
Right.
So it's nice to have those 3 returners there. Big 6'5", 300-plus pounds, James on the right edge. You know, that also helps protect us off the corner there. So, you know, and Anthony, 3-year starter at center, great relationship with Hugo. You know, that keeps a calm voice in the huddle. So, you know, I'm looking forward to those kids. You know, they put a lot of work in. They took a lot of lumps. So, you know, they're looking forward to getting out and giving a few back, huh?
Yeah. Defensive side of the ball, I know that's that was your thing as a player, and as a coach, that's sort of your specialty. Where do you feel like you are there as experience-wise?
Defensive line, we got some guys returning there. You know, we went both ways. Unfortunately, that was due to depth. And our secondary is going to be really tough. All those guys back there are returners, and some of the most skillful guys on our team are back there in the secondary.
Do you feel like there's a sense of pride coming back to Foothill and wanting to play football, wanting to be, you know, a winning program and doing the things that, you know, this program used to do? I mean, do you feel like it's finally coming together and, you know, the guys can stop thinking about the losses over the last 3 years, start looking towards and looking forward to wins now?
I think so. You know, and that's tough to change in 1 year or even 2. But I've noticed now that they're looking at the games playing to win versus before I thought several of the games we were playing not to lose.
Right.
So I think now they'll play with a little bit more confidence that they've been in the program a little bit longer. So hopefully that, that translates to the game.
When you've had only 3 wins in 3 years, how important the early games are important for everybody, but how important to get out of the gate and get some confidence and get a couple of wins. You got 3 of the first 4 on the road, but just to get a couple under your belt would be huge, right?
Right, that first game with Kennedy right out the gate. That's coming off a program that's had 2 championships. I'm not really concerned with what division those kids feel like they're champions.
Right.
So we're going to have to match that intensity because we're not coming off a championship season. So that first game could be the difference, where our confidence goes, and definitely, the focus of where my speeches go, right?
Yeah. And you could open some eyes around the county and the section. You win that game, like you said. Doesn't matter what division. They're 2-time champions. They played in a state championship game last year. I mean, holy moly! That's or a regional game, I guess, right?
Yeah,
a regional game. Yeah,
Regional.
but either way, I mean, that's a chance for a
Saddleback,
statement.
yeah.
And that's got to kind of excite you and the kids during August, right? When you can during sprints say, "Hey, how good do you think Kennedy's feeling right now?" I mean,
Right. Those kids, like I said, they're champions.
yeah.
So, it always feels good to be a champion. D4, D5, D10, champion.
Last year, I think you were sitting in this very chair when you broke the news that you had a couple of starters out for the year with injuries, and that puts a damper on the season before it begins. And I hope that hasn't happened this year, at least to that extent. But and again, I said it a few minutes ago. If you can avoid injuries, is something you can say to 90% of the coaches around, maybe more. But have you taken any steps to try to stay healthier? I know that was a big problem last year.
Right. We controlled our contact. We're doing a lot better with the new tackling style, trying to prevent concussions and whatnot, but it also protects the rest of the body. So, we're really focusing on that and positioning of the head, positioning of the shoulder, positioning of where we're attacking the offensive player defensively, and those things helped us out a lot and not doing so much punishment on each other throughout the week.
That's a good thing. And obviously, to stay healthy, you need a little bit of luck, too. I mean, there's only so much of it you can control as far as that goes. Where are you guys in the lower levels, J.O., when you look at beyond this year? Do you feel good about where the Foothill program is in your 4th season?
I think so. I mean, we got some new coaches in on the freshman staff, some longtime coaches. We've done some work with the Golden Empire program, our feeder teams, trying to make sure they come to us and understand that Foothill is a different program now, and we're trying to get on track. And I think that's where it begins, starting down there with them 7th and 8th graders, making sure we instill that pride to be a Trojan so that they plan and focus on wanting to come play at Foothill. And if we can get that going, I think that, it'll last consistently versus this year to where we're talent heavy. I don't think our JV team is going to be able to match some of the guys we have right now, no matter how good they come up.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing that you have that talent on varsity. There should be a difference there.
What makes 2016 a success for you and this football team?
Heart. I think these kids have a tremendous amount of heart, and I think they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder. Did a lot of team building. They're sticking together, and they felt every loss. They felt every loss, and that was the difference between year 1, year 2. Last year, they felt every loss.
Right.
So those guys coming back, they don't want to experience that again. So, like you said, you can't guarantee anything, but we can guarantee 100% effort that we can.
Always kind of going back to maybe what somebody else said, but I know that David Coldiron talked about having to change kind of a perception of the program within and not allowing maybe a guy that's not 100% committed. Have you ran into that? Is that a situation that you see on a daily basis, or is that something maybe now in year 4, guys coming in and they go, nope, we know what we're going to deal with Coach Oliver, and if we're not 100%, he's not going to let us play?
Absolutely, changing the program buy-in.
Yeah.
And that first year was tough. Guys under a different coach for several years. But by year 2, year 3, I thought that moved out. Right now, we have tremendous buy-in. And I think it's peer leadership now in the locker room where the coaches are not really needing to do it every time. Now our senior leaders are starting to call guys and let them know, no, that's not how we do things here, and keeping them on track.
Well, and that's the thing, too, is you also look at the pride of the east side of Bakersfield where there was a lot of great football teams for a lot of years, and then, the community kind of moved to the west side, and the bigger schools and the newer schools are there, and that was the pretty thing, and that was a sexy thing to do. But, with South kind of coming up and having a couple really great years under Carey, do you look at that and go, we need to bring that Foothill pride back, and we need to start winning? And, is there a sense of pride even truly being on the east side of town, too, saying we need to show that there is still great talent here on this side and we could play football, too?
I think that's part of the challenge. I think our kids have accepted that challenge and are really looking forward to the opportunity of getting out there on Friday night. And like I told them, man, we can only prove it in the game. We can only prove it in the game. So the only way it changes is to win.
That's right. And I alluded to this earlier, but Jayshon Ward was one of the guys who was hurt last year. I think he may have been the guy you had to mention right in here, saying it was just the day before you were in here. He break his leg, is that right?
Yes.
He's back. He's going to play both ways for you. How does he look, and how excited are you just to see him get out there in uniform?
I'm just really happy for the kid. The opportunity to get to play high school football his senior year, that could be really tough. But Jayshon is a tremendous athlete. So once he gets out there on the field, you're going to notice. It's going to be a definite difference. You're talking about a kid that can run, big, strong, fast, physical, and playing with a chip on his shoulder because he lost his junior year. So he's playing with a lot of intensity, I'll say. A lot of intensity right now.
What a cool story that would be for him to have some success and for the team to have some success. Jason Oliver, Foothill High School, year number 4, and we wish you the best of luck, Coach, and thanks so much for coming in.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
all right, guys, we will be right back, and up next on the program is Eric Smith of Golden Valley, right after this on BVarsity Live.